ready to get serious about building content sites and building a profitable business online? Welcome to the Niche Website Builders Podcast. We bring you the latest field-tested tips, tricks, and strategies for building a profitable online asset. We interview industry experts, share customer success stories, and reveal our own experiences working on hundreds of sites to inspire and motivate you to make something happen. Let's do this.
Welcome to the Niche Website Builders Podcast. Today we had someone who doesn't need introducing, and that is Miles Beckler. So if you've been around the niche site, YouTube or Twitter community, you would have come across Miles's videos, I'm sure, whether you're searching for how to do anything. He teaches essentially internet marketing to bloggers, business owners, entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call yourself, and that includes affiliate marketing, creating funnels. I think from my personal experience, most of his value comes from creating sales funnels and copywriting. So we cover a lot of things within this podcast. So it's kind of more of a conversational, some questions throughout. But Miles is almost known as the anti-guru guy. So he hates the greedy gurus who dive into that. And we dive into a more controversial topic of display ads. So if you don't know, Miles generally doesn't advise people to use display ads on their websites. And he dives into exactly why, and we kind of dive through that topic. We also go on to talk about opt-in, sales funnels, copywriting, everything to do with essentially promoting your own products. And then we dive in at the end to talk a little bit about memberships. He used to have a membership, and he was giving me some advice on starting memberships. So there's not much else to say in terms of this intro because we cover a whole lot of stuff with this podcast, and I know you will take a lot out of it. And sit back and enjoy.
This episode is brought to you by Niche Website Builders, an agency dedicated to helping people just like you build profitable content sites. Niche Website Builders are the hands-off content site marketing agency you always wished existed. It's run by content site marketers for content site marketers, and they help both investors and individuals alike build profitable online properties. They provide a fully outsourced approach to content creation, link building, and done-for-you website builds, the same approach they use on their own six-figure portfolios. For example, their content packages come with a proprietary keyword research process, are written by in-house native English speakers, formatted using templates proven to convert, and uploaded to WordPress with affiliate links added so that all you need to do is hit the publish button. Check them out at nichewebsite.builders/show. That's nichewebsite.builders/show and fill out the form to get coupon codes for 10% more content or a 10% discount on links with your first order sent right to your inbox.
All right. Welcome to the Niche Website Builders Podcast. Today we have a man that doesn't really need introducing, but we're going to introduce him anyway, Miles Beckler. Welcome, Miles.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming on. So Miles has been on the podcast before. If you haven't watched that, you can watch that one after this one, of course. But maybe for those who aren't familiar with you, maybe you want to give a brief, a brief description of yourself and what you're kind of doing.
For sure. So I made my first dollar with affiliate marketing in 2003. Before that, I had made a little bit of money on eBay, buying and selling things, flipping things. But to get income from something digital, like a digitally delivered service product that I didn't create, that happened first for me in 2003, and that built the belief that this whole make money online thing was possible. From that point in time, it took me about 7 years of trial and error. I was essentially direct linking affiliate links onto MySpace. They changed their terms of service and they turned off all of my links overnight. So my income went from $3,000 a month. Wow, this is great. I got it all figured out. Look how smart Miles is, to zero. And that taught me the importance of building an email list, the importance of building brand, a series of many trial and errors, 7 years of, I think, 13 different projects that I kind of ultimately gave up on for one reason or another before my wife and I really clicked on a meditation and spirituality website. That was in 2009. I quit my last job in about 2010, and we've been building that and growing that since. It's made several millions of dollars at this point in time. And then in 2016, so at that point I was 13 years in the game, I started teaching everything I know for free on YouTube. And at this point I've put up almost 700 100 videos on YouTube, literally very deep dive, very tactical, free. It's kind of like giving all of that free how-to information to the 18-year-old Miles. And that information wasn't around because YouTube wasn't even around back then. So it was kind of like a labor of love to put all of my knowledge into a searchable database type scenario on videos on YouTube. And I don't know. Now we're here. I'm just kind of hanging out and chatting with cool people, trying to inspire the next generation of niche website builders to kind of like do it right, air quotes on the do it right there, of create really cool stuff, like actually help your people, like really go out and be of service to your audience, and keeping that at the forefront of business in 2022 and beyond.
Yeah, I think an interesting point you mentioned was the fact that you'd been at it for 13 years and then started sharing, kind of building that brand too. And we can always get in this, so my website's now around 2 years old, and I've replaced my full-time income. But at the same time, I'm always like, damn, this guy's making 5 figures, 6 figures a month, absolutely crushing it doing this. And then you're like, oh, they've been doing it for 10 years and they can they have the traffic and the trust and everything and of their brand that they start diversifying to different things.
And the skills and the knowledge of this offer works, this offer doesn't work. And it just takes time to test, right? Like, so over the years, my wife and I have tested over 150, 200, what I would call micro products. So the sales letter for these micro products was usually on a blog page, very simple, quick. Hey, let's put this up. Let's run it out. Let's see what the list does with it. If it works with it. So it's all these, like, we build understanding of what our audience actually wants through their willingness to take out their credit card and purchase something. So if you've only got 1 or 2 attempts, right, and you're basing all of your ideas off of like literally trying to sell 1 or 2 things 1 or 2 times, you're just not going to have a data set that's going to help you understand what your people actually want. But when you've tried dozens or maybe even hundreds of different offers, or sometimes it's just replacing a hook or replacing a headline on an offer, right? It doesn't have to be a whole new thing. But when you try 100 different angles, bingo, now you're really starting to see, okay, so if I talk about my product from this angle, people get really excited. But if I talk about that same product from this angle, nobody even wants to touch it. And all of these little insights stack on top of each other. And I mean, on my main site, we just did, I think, like $70,000 in a week, right? And we have affiliates mailing it. And I was driving traffic from TikTok and from, I think we were buying traffic from 6 or 7 different sources. Like, why? Why can I do that so confident? It's because I ran this offer last year. I ran it the year before. I tested it last year. I've been testing and optimizing the same thing year in, year out, year in, year out. And most people are, like a dog that sees a squirrel run by and they're gone. They're just boom, shiny object. Now I'm going to be a niche site person now. I'm going to be this person. And it's that willingness to like really deeply focus in on one audience, one group of people, help really commit to helping them over the course of years. And so many people are selling their fads. They get one thing that works. They have one outlier result, and then they put it into a 997 course, and they're selling that as the be all end all. And as I've had 20-ish years of experience, I realized that they all have 10 years that they didn't mention. They have this huge long story of struggle that they forgot to tell you in the sales letter, where they're telling you how easy it was, but they're just kind of omitting that phase where they went through the trial and error themselves. And the truth of business is that it just takes a long time to become an overnight success.
Yeah. And it's about failing up, right? So fail the next one. I didn't start my current sites. They weren't the first things that I did. Like, I've had, before I even knew you could make money online, I had websites and blogs just because I wanted to be like the fitness. Back in the day, you used to be able to follow your favorite fitness guy, right? So it wasn't like how to do X, whatever. It was, hey, I really like this guy's blog content. I'm going to follow his blog. And I was like, shit, yeah, I want to do something like that when I was going through university and kind of getting into the career. And then I started doing that. Obviously, that didn't work. And then during my career, I started another business. I was doing like a sports academy, and I was also writing blogs there to bring, I don't know, just to share on social media, but I didn't know I could make money or SEO or anything. That was another failed venture there. Then when I started, before going into actual blogging, I was looking at like drop shipping, all the shiny object stuff that you see online.
Yeah.
And you go,
oh, that was easy.
Yeah, exactly. I thought so. Oh, I'll just throw up a Shopify store. I was going to sell magnetic eyelashes. Easy.
Okay. Yeah, easy. You look like the kind of guy who can advertise some magnetic eyelashes.
Exactly. Yeah, you know what I mean? AliExpress stock images. And then obviously I did that for like a week, and then that didn't work. And I was like, okay. Then I eventually came across the blogging side. I started with a pet website because at that time we had a new pet rabbit, and we were learning all kinds of stuff about a pet rabbit. And I was writing that content, and that was working ish. But I like got to the point after 40 articles, I was like, there's no way like I can write more posts on this because this
I have no desire. Yep, exactly. I know that this is a long path, and I have no desire to carry on along this path anymore. Exactly. Bingo. That happens time to time. And each time you learn something, right? You learn little skills. And sometimes we learn drop shipping is not for me. Great, cool. I can cross that off my list. I'm never going to get sidetracked by that again. Perfect. And it's, sometimes to refine our focus, we have to try things that are outside of the realm of what works, and that kind of helps us. But the faster we can get really zeroed in like a laser on that one thing, and I'm going to help these people. I think they're underserved, and I'm all in. For my wife, she just loves the metaphysics. She just loves spirituality. Like we've built what we call the meditation cave here at the house. So she has like a meditation room. And so it really is a part of our lifestyle. So for her to blog about it and TikTok about it and make videos on YouTube about it, and products about it, like it's what we love. We're literally sharing what we love with the world. So we kind of get more energy because it's fun. It's not like work, like, oh God, I got to write another article about how to pH balance a hot tub today. Like, oh God, and it's all these little micro choices that we end up making over very long paths that create what can potentially look from the outside like, oh wow, just what an amazing business. And it's like, well, yeah, but it's been a long path of optimization to get here.
Yeah, for sure. And I actually wanted to dive more into kind of like the selling copy side. But first, I guess from the outside looking in, you would be considered almost like the anti-guru. And we could also add potentially anti-display ad guy. We can just add that on top as another layer. So I wanted to dive into this.
Yeah, brand positioning is an interesting thing, right? So there's a free document. It's a free PDF you can find. It's called the One Sentence Persuasion Course. I recommend everyone reads it. You just Google One Sentence Persuasion Course. You can find it. You got to read the whole thing. It's like 13 pages. And in it, he has the one sentence. And one of the things about persuasion is kind of pinning them against us, right? So it's really easy for me to help people understand where I stand by saying, I'm not these people. I'm not those people. I'm not into that. So it is very conscious, and it is very much strategic, right? I'm doing it on purpose. Many people do call me a guru, right? Technically, I believe guru means like one who shines light in the dark or something similar to that. So I'm just a teacher. There's a whole industry, though, that's built around selling things that don't work on overhyped promises. And it's difficult for people to realize that there really truly are very big name individuals in our space that most people would know them by name who like they're shady. Like they're selling what used to work. They're selling what doesn't work anymore. They're hyping it up behind their huge courses. And I've bought into some of these things, and they're just terrible, and it pisses me off. So that's one of my frustrations about the kind of greedy gurus. And I try to position it specifically about the greedy gurus and the fake gurus. Right? The fake gurus are the people who actually don't know what they're doing. They're just copying someone else's course, and they're just putting it together in a package, and they're selling it. They're going to burn that brand as hard as they can. They're going to make as much as they can in a short time, and everybody's going to figure out they're a scam, and then they disappear. And this is the cycle has happened over and over and over in my career. I've watched just generation after generation after generation of guru come up out of nowhere. They're selling their courses. Now they're cryptocurrency gurus is something you see today, right? And all that means is they don't care about you. They don't care about your business. They care about themselves making as much money as they can. And when crypto's hot, they're going to sell you crypto. And when the next thing's hot, they're just going to sell, sell, sell. And I think that is I think that's the antithesis to your success, right? I think your success comes from having a very clear strategy, having focus, having the perspective and wherewithal to know that this is a long journey that we're on, because then you can bring the appropriate amount of energy, right? I've got a mate in Taronga who he actually played for the Christchurch Crusaders. So he played pro rugby. Okay. And like, I know he knows the amount of energy, the amount of physical fitness, the amount of like the nutrition that dude, I mean, he is a brick, dude. That dude is so yoked. He's like the most jacked person I know. If you play for the Crusaders,
you're a big dude.
You're a big dude, and you have spent decades working on absolutely every single part of the game, of the strategy, of your body, of all of it, right? And so he has brought appropriate force to go up against that competition that is there at that level. And most people in internet marketing are not bringing enough force because they've been trained by the greedy gurus that somehow it's easy, right? Oh, it's an easy button thing. Just click this 3 times and it's done. So like, cool, I can be lazy and still make it. No, you can't. So that's why I like to just really position like this. There's a lot of work up front, but once you get it going, you can get rewards for years and years and years. The product that I mentioned, right? Like we actually launched it for the first time 4 years ago, and it just did huge numbers for us at this point in time over the last week. And it's pretty much because I've been working on the same offer for 4 years straight, right? I keep refining it. I keep refining it. I keep refining it is how we get there. And then on the running display ads, I just believe that's a very low value ad to your audience. So let's say like you go turn on ads on all of your websites above the fold. You really just do all the Mediavine ads you possibly can. Now, is your site going to look more professional? Like, oh, maybe. Some people say, oh, a site without ads doesn't even look right in this world. But what's happening is, A, you're creating leakage points for your brand. So you're giving people the opportunity to leave when you actually want them to join your list or buy your stuff.
Yeah.
So why am I give me 25 cents to not let me sell one of my products, to not let me get someone on my list? No, thank you. And I just don't think anyone came on this planet with the goal or the intention of displaying ads, right? Like, I think we can help people. I think being a business owner is all about creating solutions, right? We are the solution creator and the solution provider for our audience and their problems. And no one's problems are solved by an ad. Sometimes the thing in the ad magically lines up with what they want and they click. I get that, but we're just playing at these weird numbers. And it's just like, why don't you create something that your people want instead of showing them a random rubbish ad? And this is why I have no ads on my YouTube channel, right? I walk the walk, if you will. So I have 500 something videos. I've had over 10 million views on my YouTube channel, and I have ads turned off. And it's very specific. I don't want you, when you're like, okay, how to do affiliate marketing, and then you find a Miles Beckler video that teaches you how to do affiliate marketing. I have an opportunity to show you the ad, which will probably be from one of the greedy gurus, and I'll make 32 cents on this ad from displaying it, and they're going to try to distract you with some other shiny object. That's not cool. That's not what I want for my audience. Why would you want for your audience to perpetually be distracted? And it's these reasons why I think from a higher level of business, of being a CEO of a publishing company, which is what we all are, I think there's a lot more value I can deliver to my audience. It takes more effort. It takes more creativity. It takes a little bit more work. But I mean, this is why I'm making over $1 million a year, and I have for many years, right? Like, it's because I've put in the work to actually create the solutions that my people desire. And then I wrap it all up in really good sales copy to help them realize, like, God damn, this actually is the thing that's going to help me get to where I go.
Yeah. I think 1 million of your 10 million views was probably from me as well on your YouTube.
Brilliant. I love it.
and then I guess I'm going to play, I'm on your side. Since listening to your stuff, I don't run display ads on any of my sites. Nothing like that. Yep. I've kind of just worked on my offers, affiliates, and stuff like that. But to play devil's advocate, because there's a lot of people that run display ads, use that kind of model. Personally, like you're saying, I don't like the idea of I need to publish. Like, the only way I'm going to make money is I have to keep publishing, because I need to keep getting more pages on my site, because then I can increase my revenue, because I'm going to get more people, etc. But I guess from a devil's advocate standpoint, if I have maybe pages or a niche where maybe selling a digital product is more difficult, maybe there's less affiliate opportunities, is that something then you would still recommend? Maybe, okay, display ads, like for those things, you kind of just have to go down that road? Or is this like, hey, if you're going to build a brand, regardless of what it is, there's always a way to be able to provide more value to the customer?
Well, it is worthy of acknowledging, like, people like John Dykstra, who does nothing but display ads, and he's crushing it. He's doing, 7 figures a year. He's doing $100,000 months left and right. So he's playing at the level. I know far fewer people in his position playing that game than I do in my position playing my game. if you zoom out and you look at the number of people making true long-term 5-year, 10-year long, 5 million plus type income revenue, right? Making $5 million over the course of 5 to 10 years from ads. I don't know anybody who really fits into that except for him. And you're putting all of your business, right? Your entire success hinges on two things. Number one, Google bringing you traffic. If that traffic stops, you ain't making any more money. So that means you have one point of failure with Google. And what's going on right now in Google? Google is all over the freaking place with their algorithm. And they have been. And Google's been down for weeks. So then the other side of this is, what if the ad revenue, or what if the ad platform decides to turn you off for XYZ reason? We've seen it with Ezoic. We've seen it with all the big major public. They just shut you down. Here you go. You're done. Sorry. Right. So that business model, by definition, puts your long-term success in the hands of other people's, in the hands of other businesses and other people, and you have zero recourse. Just like people who build a business, being a YouTuber, which is something I don't recommend. I recommend using YouTube as a content publishing platform to drive traffic from the YouTube search engine. But I don't recommend you being a YouTuber, because if you're a YouTuber, you're just making videos to get attention. And when you get attention, you make money from the ad. But if YouTube wants to turn you off, YouTube will push the button and you're gone.
Yeah.
And there ain't a damn thing you can do with it. Mate, you got a kid on the way, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So are you going to build your business on a scenario where Google or an ad platform or one person, one random ass corporation has the ability to completely shut you down?
Hell no. That's why I've got an email list and everything too.
That's it. Right. So within the ad, I believe that building a traffic engine through blogging, right? Let's say you go write 500 keyword focused blog posts, you target them for the search, you do your optimization, you build this big engine of traffic that comes in an automated fashion from Google. That's great. If you want to throw display ads on each one of those as you're building it, just so you have some sort of monetization there, so your efforts aren't completely fruitless, that's also great. But the moment you're having 20, 30 visits per day coming to your website, 100 visits per day coming to your website, you need to get a pop-up. You need to start building the list. You need to start working on these next level things, and the margins go way up. When you sell one of your courses, oh my goodness gracious, like you're making 98% like margins on it. You pay 2% maybe to the transaction fee, and that's it. And if it came from an organic source, it's pure profit. So just from a business strategy, right? That's a higher level. We just had like a higher level CEO level conversation, and there's a time and a place for running ads. I do run some ads on some of my content that isn't super relevant to things, but it's an addition to my pop-up, and it's always kind of like the lowest priority on my monetization schedule, if you will.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, I know people will say, yeah, leaving money on the table, this and that. But I mean, and people also say, like, it's only you as the website owner that sees the issue with the ad. The actual person coming to the page doesn't see the problem with the ad. And I guess we come from a biased lens when, like, when I'm searching the internet and I see a whole bunch of ads on the site, I get pissed and I hate being on that site, and I exit it as soon as possible.
Yeah. And to me, it's more of like, okay, so my business helps people with X, right? So the Miles Beckler brand helps people build real businesses online. So when somebody reaches my blog, that's all about helping people build real businesses online, or my YouTube channel, same thing. I don't want you to leave. Like, you just showed up. You came for what I created to help you build the business that you want. Like, why would I ever let you leave in that scenario? Which is why when you build opt-in pages, they shouldn't be on your blog. You shouldn't have navigation. We call those leakage points inside of your funnel. So it's kind of like this idea of, what's the goal of your website? Every website should have a goal. And my website's goal is to grow my email list, and then to help people build blogs and websites, like to build out their brands, essentially, to build out blogs, websites, email lists. So if you look at my website, if you go to milesbeckler.com, on the top navigation, start here, find your niche, how to start your blog, how to grow your email list. Those 4 things are on the top navigation, because those are the 4 things those are the steps that I'm trying to help every single person get through. So I put them right up top, and then on the top navigation, free course. And then when you scroll down, my top header says free course. So all my calls to action are internal to try to really help people take that next step, to really get on the path to finally break through, because there's so much noise and distraction and BS. If I'm just displaying ads, I'm now a part of that problem. I'm creating more noise. I'm creating more distractions for my audience, and that's not being of service to my audience. Therefore, it's something I must remove ruthlessly. And the whole leaving money on the table. Yeah, mate, being an entrepreneur, I'm going around, I'm picking up stacks of thousands. I'm leaving hundreds all over the table. And that just is what it is. And at one point I tried hiring a team and they could follow behind me and then they could repurpose my content and blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden the opportunity cost, right? Like all of a sudden I'm managing these people and I don't like dealing with all this stuff. And my life got considerably worse because I'm chasing down $100. That's not prosperity. That's not what someone who's truly prosperous would do. We all leave some things untied. As an entrepreneur, the job's never done. Your site's never going to be done. There's always more to do. And we just have to get to this point where we're like, okay, I've done the most important things. I've built the most valuable things I can for my people. I'm gonna go enjoy the park for a little bit. I'm gonna go have a surf. I'm gonna go do so, we have to literally shift in other ways versus okay, I can get another 32 cents from spending all this time to install Ezoic and it might slow down my website and it might cause all these other parts. I'm gonna do it because I can't leave money on the table. And this is the kind of thing that rookie entrepreneurs talk about. That's what people talk about who aren't making money, because they do anything to make a little bit more money. But once you realize that growing an email list, creating offers and mailing out your own offers, and you start to have, 5-figure days type things, you're like, oh shit, this is the metagame. If I just focus on this one game and I get really good at this one game, everything else becomes irrelevant. And I can let all of the little niche site tweeters go create their niche site tweeter handles, and they can all pick up those little pennies while I'm up here picking up the stacks of $1,000 bills.
I'm enjoying this, throwing shade at niche website Twitter at the same time. So this is good stuff.
If you notice my most recent tweet, everyone right now is adding niche site to their Twitter handle. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are folks who are building businesses through creating websites that display ads is their model, but yet they're not. They have a meta model. And when you read between the lines, they're not. They're actually trying to build email lists. They're trying to build audiences around how to do niche site because they want to list, because they want to sell how to niche site. So if you look at their actions, and this is what I try to do, and I don't hold it against them. I think it's smart to diversify and get the hell out from under an ad only bit. That's what we're talking about. But it's really important because everybody is now doing it. They're all FOMOing in, and there's niche daddy and there's niche, everybody's adding niche Viking, and they're all adding, and they have the same sort of logos, and they're all mimicking what worked for one person who's kind of new. But what game are they all playing? None of them are making any more revenue out of this. This is a very small game, but yet they're all putting a lot of energy keeping up with each other. They're playing, and it's one of those play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Well, I'm over here playing really smart games, and when we have an offer that clicks, I make $100,000, right? In a week, in 12 days, 13 days. It's just, why is it? And it boggles my mind. I think the answer is because it's easy, and you get the vanity metrics, and you see the numbers go up, and that tweeter got an engagement, and it's this really fast feedback, which is essentially the Twitter algorithm brainwashing people to become publishers on that platform, which is a distraction from their main business. But you get the brain chemistry, the dopamines and the serotonins of, wow, look at how much I'm doing. It's called shadow work. And I have a video on that called shadow work, right? So a lot of people get caught in the shadow work trap doing Twitter things, when the truth is publishing more blog posts, focusing on keywords, building email lists, and partnering with, creating and selling products to those people who are reaching your website. That's the $1 million business. Becoming Twitter famous in the niche site world is not $1 million business, right? I know a few people who run really high-end businesses in that space. Very, very, very few of them make 7 figures per year.
Yeah. No, those are all good points. And I actually wanted to take this down that kind of digital product, copywriting, email list, opt-in, all that kind of road.
Yep.
And I also wanted to give some people some hope, because it can be daunting having to be like, shit, I got to go write sales pages and stuff that sell. And I guess from my journey, I just passed through most of school because my writing was so bad. I hated writing. I couldn't even make word counts. I would go through my essays,
I just wouldn't do it.
all that, But I would go through my essays and I would take all the words like don't, can't, won't, and then expand them to do not, cannot, will
Oh,
not, etc. So I could try and meet the
I
word
like
count.
it.
That's how bad.
Oh
That's how
yeah.
bad my writing was, and I hated it. And then through uni, I started getting a little bit as I was writing scientific papers and stuff like that, and I started to enjoy it as I was doing it online. It's taken many years. Now I get people being like, "Whoa, you used to be bad at writing. Like it doesn't look like it." And
Yeah.
as you just get to it and learn it, it becomes, I guess it just becomes easier and more natural. But so I learned most of my copywriting stuff from your YouTube channel, from, I think you recommended John Carlton, and it must be one of your old emails. He ended up downselling
Yep.
me to his book, and I bought his book, and that was like, I based all my sales pages off that. And now John
He's
Lee's,
brilliant.
of course, yeah. So now I've just
Yep.
kind of like, I guess, adding more knowledge on top of the real basic foundation that I have. So if anyone listening, you can learn it, and there's formulas
Yeah.
that even Miles has on his thing that you can learn it too. So to start with, let's start with, I guess, opt-ins on your site. And I wanted to start first with opt-in friction. So obviously, if we make it really easy, anyone can kind of sign up, and you might not get the most qualified leads. Is there maybe too much friction that you can kind of give a potential customer to opt in, or is there kind of some kind of sweet spot that you've found?
Sometimes I like to add friction on purpose. I think the higher ticket product that you sell, the more friction you're going to want to add to the process. So let's say, mate, you're doing like a $5,000 one-on-one coaching, right? You do like a 3-hour package and it's like $5,000. You don't want to talk to everybody. You're going to close that over the phone. So you actually want to build what Dan Kennedy called an obstacle course. Okay. So somebody clicks and they enter their email, and then after the email, it's a 12-question questionnaire. And then after that, that questionnaire goes to a virtual assistant, and they read through it and they make sure they're right. And then from there, they get an opportunity to book a call with you. And then from there, they get to get on the call. And that's when they actually hear the pitch. Okay. So we would add lots of friction to certain types of funnel consciously and on purpose as a way of getting the wrong people off of the end phone call. So you're only talking to people who are really, truly serious about buying it, who actually have the money for it. They actually have the things built they need to build on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So friction isn't inherently problematic, but it needs to be used strategically is kind of the way I would think about it. Now, sales copy, sales funnels, email marketing, growing a list, all of it is essentially about helping other people get what they want. Like everything comes back to helping other people get what they want. So if you've got people on your website and your website is about yoga, and well, what does that person want? Well, they might want pain relief. They might want flexibility. They might want joint mobility. They might want strength training. They might want low impact strength training. How do we know what of your audience, your yoga audience, how do we know exactly what they want? We just flat out don't. So what you do is you create, a PDF with 6 poses, and then you position that PDF, right? The free yoga class that will help you with each one of those pain points. And those are hooks, right? So these are each individual hooks for the same thing, right? So I make yoga classes. I ain't going to not make yoga classes because that's what I do. That's my niche. That's what I committed to. So here's my yoga class. Now, how do I present this in a way that a high percentage of my audience says, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I've been looking for? So it's looking for these hooks. It's thinking about these types of hooks. And then it's about repurposing and creating and launching these things as fast as you possibly can to get data, right? And if you do 2, and that's all you ever do, you're not going to have enough statistical significance to understand, did that actually work or not? But once you've launched 10 things, the 80-20 rule should take over, and 1 or 2 things will do really well, and 8 or 9 things won't work at all. Bingo. You just found through test, this one thing works pretty well. And now we get to build on top of that. Now we can say, okay, my opt-in is going to be this works. Okay. So once they get that, now they have the, excuse me. So they've got the yoga for pain relief. Let's say that's the one that just works, right? Yoga for back pain relief, yoga for golfers for back pain, these types of things, right? We're just way down in this really specific thing now. Okay. So now that user opted in and they just think, oh, finally, I'm going to solve my back relief pain. What's the next thing that they're going to want? Maybe they'll want to strengthen their back, because after you get the relief, you need to strengthen it so you don't go back to that same problem. Bingo. There's our one-time offer. Now, is that going to work? I don't know. We got to build it, and then we got to test it and measure, and on and on and on. So like a lot of people think that copywriting is this almost like magical thing where you go sit in a room and you light a few candles and you got your document open and you just write out this amazing thing from the top. It kind of until you learn that it's actually just a few blocks on top of each other, right? Like there's the big idea, which is your hook. There's the headline. You've got your bullet points. You've got your proof. You've got all these little components that each individually, it's not that big of a deal. There's formulas for each of them. You can actually learn how to do each one of those. And so you do this one, that one, that one, then it stitches all together and voila, you're 80-90% of the way there. And from there, there's a lot of little testing and tweaking, but most people aren't even getting 80-90% of the way there. They're just kind of like half-ass writing a sales letter after they finish their course because they're out of energy. They're having a creative hangover because they don't have any more energy left, and they just slap together a course, they put it out, and it didn't sell. And this stuff doesn't work. Well, no, just you wrote shit copy. Like, sorry, but that's just the way it is. Like, you didn't use words that compelled your people to action. Therefore, you don't make any money. And until you learn to master that and figure that out, you're probably not going to make much money. And when you do figure that out, the whole world opens up because there's nearly 5 billion people online right now. The global economy of e-commerce, right, which is digital products and like things bought online, services, etc. The global economy of the internet is like $1 trillion a year. That's 1,000 billions. That's 1,000 millions times 1,000. Holy man, that's a million millions, right? There's a million millions out there. Well, I got one. Who else is getting one? There's a million of them. There's room for a million millions per year, and it's growing, right? And that number is just going up, 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 especially I know y'all have been dealing with some crazy lockdowns, like everywhere has, right? And like when everything locks down, guess what happens? Like the shops bring to us and people get more addicted to the convenience of e-commerce, right? There's a lot of people in the United States of America living in rural America. We live in a big country up here. They had never bought on Amazon. They had never bought online. The world locks down. All of a sudden they're buying online. Now they're like, honey, this is kind of useful. And then once the stores open back up, they don't go back to their old ways. They actually get more comfortable with this process of purchasing online. And if you look back through the data at what went on in China through the, I think it might have been the H1N1 scare. They had a flu virus that went through China in, I believe, 2005 or 2006. And that was when Alibaba became like the biggest company. And so like China went through this evolution where they all just started buying online and became the e-commerce powerhouse in the world like 10 years before any of us did. And then we all just had this scenario. Bingo, it's happening everywhere. I don't know if I actually answered your question. I kind of went on a little bit of a tangent there, but I think it was helpful.
Tangents are good. I'm gonna continue this almost like a personal coaching call. The one-time offer page. So my old one-time offer page was more like, it was short. It kind of just, to me, I don't think it gave enough information. It still sold. I increased the price a little because I have a lot of people just buying my digital products without even opting in, just buying them full price. So I'm like, okay, then I think that means I can just up the price a little bit for the one-time offer. And then I changed the one-time offer page to the actual sales page, but then just moved the pricing table up top, showing the discount and stuff like that. Yep. Is the one-time offer page, should it be like a full on sales page, or should it be like a shortened version, almost like a squeeze page? It doesn't matter.
No clue, right? And for people doing audio only, I just made this goofy ass face, shrugging my shoulders, saying I have absolutely no idea. And ultimately, you're going to test your way to find it. So I have some one-time offers that work better as a video. Okay, so up top it says request received. Your free things would be in your inbox right now. Watch this video so you can learn the 3 tricks to blank. And they go into the video, they watch the video, and people who watch their way through the video, we make a very good case that the next steps, which is the product below, is what they actually need. Now, this all stems from when someone takes an action, when someone opts into your list, psychologically, they feel like they've scratched the itch, meaning they feel like they have the solution to that problem. So now we can start talking about the next problem. An example of this is if I'm selling a course on how to do a sales funnel, right? So let's say the course is my OTOs, or my opt-in is the sales funnel cheat sheet, how to make sure your sales funnel is going to perform. Then the one-time offer, what do I do on the one-time offer? Well, logically, if that person thinks, oh, finally, I've got my sales funnel figured out, what's my next problem? Traffic. perfect. So I would put my Facebook ads course right after for the OTO, right? And it's using this logic. So then all my big idea, my headline needs to just follow this process. Like, great. Now that you've got your funnel sorted out, we need to talk about traffic, because having a high converting funnel without any traffic means you're not going to make any money.
Okay.
So you're playing it too. And like, I'm just using logic. I just meet them. I keep taking them one step, next step. And what happens is there's some percentage of your audience who's ready, that like, this is the day. They're pissed. They're frustrated. They're ready to fix everything, and they're ready to commit right now. They're not ready to commit 3 days later in email number 3 when you used to pitch your thing. They want to buy all the stuff right now. They want to fix it right now. They have time. The kids are away right now. It's right here now. This is it. Okay. So are you giving them the opportunity to follow the path to get all of the things with great deals and using those copy blocks? That's kind of the bigger question is, and this is where it's like a lot of testing, because I could sit here and tell you that I think it's the Facebook ads thing, but maybe it's actually copywriting is a thing. So I got a funnel opt-in, and maybe it's actually like the 3 copy secrets would be a really good thing to stuff in after that. Or maybe it's the Facebook ads thing. And this is what I do professionally. Okay. So this is literally the game I'm playing. So as I talked a bit of smack about the niche site builders doing that game, this is the game, and people can talk all the smack they want about this game. It's the most lucrative game in the world I have ever found. For example, I've got some examples of like really old books. So these are like books from the 1920s that were sold through written letter. The dude made millions selling these little books back in the 1920s. I've got another one right here. So this book, New Choices in Natural Healing, it was sold on a 4-pay of $6.99 in 1997. It was sold through this lead magnet right here, which is just a little pamphlet. $50 million of this book were sold from mailing out this little pamphlet. $50 million. And it's when I see these things and I'm like, Jesus, man, like the potential for scale for the right product with the right angle, with the right hook, with the right headline, like the potential for scale here is obscene. Gary Halbert at one point, he was bringing in, so Gary Halbert's a copywriter back in the day, mail order days, right? So he would run magazine ads and direct mail ads, and people would clip out the little coupon. They'd write a check and they'd mail a check in. He had 20,000 checks a day coming in. He had a team of like 30 women working full time. He rented the floor above the bank because they had so many checks coming in and so much cash coming in. They would literally put the order slip over here. They would put the money in a bin. They would walk the money and the checks down. They would take it down the elevator into the back of the bank. They had their own private bankers who did nothing but deposit money all day, every day, mate. This was this was like in the 80s when it was hard, when you had to mail things. So this is like, I look at the game they played and the mastery and the numbers that they were able to create and the lifestyles they were able to create from that. And I'm like looking at what we do and it's like, you know, it shouldn't be that difficult to crack this nut with Facebook ads, and I can go publish a new page in 7 minutes. You know, it's so easy to publish. It's so easy to test this stuff. And that's what I think most people are missing is the perpetual testing of and thinking about, okay, did they want that? Why didn't they want that? Why did they buy that, but they didn't buy that? When I put this as my OTO and not that as my OTO, they took this one. Why? Man, I thought it would have been the other way around. And then I'm out in the garden and I'm over, you know, I'm tramping on some trails or something. And I'm thinking like, oh, maybe they bought that one instead of that one because they're over here. And I thought they were this, but they're actually that. Oh, maybe that. So if that's true, then maybe this would, I just came into my next big idea of the next thing I have to go test. Nice. And to me, it's much more of a fun game. It's a little bit like hunting or fishing versus farming. And it's enjoyable.
No, I found that too. I found it just seeing how you can kind of push those numbers up in sales just from making small tweaks is fun. I think later this week or next week after I finish I actually pre-sold my first product last week, or a couple of weeks ago to my email list, so I'm just finishing that up. But when I do that, then I'm going to have to go through and start A/B testing some more headlines to see if I can improve my opt-in rate, get more people seeing the one-time offer. You know, just playing that game, really.
Yep. And study. So the other side of this, and like personal recommendation for you is, you know, study offers. Become a great noticer of, you know, be very observant of what's working. So this means go to udemy.com. Look at everything in your space. Look at the top selling stuff in your space on Udemy. Udemy it's a course selling platform. I believe they have something to the tune of 3,000 sub niches broken down. So if you just go to udemy.com, click on categories and then sub, they do like 3 levels of sub, and then you click and there's even more subcategories below. This is where you can start to see things that are working in ways. And you're like, oh my God, that's a thing. My mate in Taronga, they do fitness for dressage horse riding. Okay. So it's how to get the right. Yeah. So they're, and like, I freaking love the Bay of Plenty. I love them. They're just brilliant people. But like most people are like, what? That's a thing? They are crushing it in that little space. And that's where, so study the offers that are actually working and crushing. I like to look on Udemy, and then when I find the brands, I go look at the Facebook ad library. I like to find somebody who is building a personal brand, they're selling stuff, and then they're running ads also. And I look at the ads, and most of the time, you'll see that people are repeating their best hooks over and over and over and over and over in Facebook ads. Right. So if you go to look at Frank Kern's Facebook ads right now, you'll get a really good sense of what's working in the how to make money online and the marketing niche right now, just by looking at what Frank Kern's doing over and over. And when you find those people in your space, do you know who Matt Fury is?
No, I don't think
Have you ever heard of Matt Fury? So he's old school. So he did this one info product. I'm ordering it now. I might do a video on it. It's called Combat Conditioning. And he had one called Combat Abs. And he wrote sales letters, and these are books that he sold. It's the same business model, and he was operating it in the late 90s. I would be handwriting out a sales letter. I would be reading every single sales letter that Matt Fury ever put out. Another place is swiped.co. You can look at some of the old great sales letters, and this is where you don't have to just make shit up. You can go look at what's worked really well for other people, and then you blend what you can kind of learn through observation. You blend that with your experiences, with your audience, with the age we live in, and you're looking to synthesize a new idea that kind of takes a little bit of what they had going, a little bit of what they had, and this makes something new, and bingo, now you've got something new to test.
Gotcha. I actually wanted to ask you about that copy stuff. This is something that I've thought about a lot, and it came up in your latest podcast interview with John Benson about the hook.
Yep.
And one example, so you have all fitness examples. One of the examples was P90X. Their hook was muscle confusion, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to know, I guess, where's the line between ethical, I guess, copy and marketing versus almost like lies? Because coming from that, because that's strength conditioning stuff is my area. I have a master's degree, blah, blah, blah. Muscle confusion is not. Yeah, muscle confusion is not a thing. It's
not a thing.
Almost say,
they made it up.
It's a lie. Yeah, but so where's the line then in terms of, I guess, marketing and being, okay, I came up with this thing. It's not actually a thing, but making billions from selling because of, I guess, labeling our product as doing this thing, essentially.
Well, so there's two things, and I want to start here, and we'll kind of loop back. Like, everyone has their own line, right? Like, everyone has their own goals and what they're focused on, and there are narcissists in this world that will do things that are negative for other people just so they can make money. These are the greedy gurus. Like, there are people out there psychologically who just don't think like this. But what I would like to ask you is what you think about the overall impact of P90X has been. And so for them to generate billions of sales, that means a lot of people got up off the couch and bought something. Yeah, they have 100% money back guarantee for it. Right. So they have 100% money back guarantee for it. So if they got this big, bold promise and they bought the thing and they're like, man, this really ain't, my muscles ain't confused. It didn't work. They can get their money back. So that it's like a risk-free thing. But what if that idea actually motivated tens of thousands of people to get fit, and tens of thousands of people who weren't getting fit, who were sedentary lifestyles, who were getting larger and unhealthier by the day, made the shift and they became fitter people? You know, another question you could ask is, what about these celebrity fitness people who are selling the thing? That is not what you look like from doing P90X. Yeah. The people who are on those infomercials are absolute, like, I mean, they count every single calorie. They count every single macronutrient. Like, they are their body mass index, they are so ripped that you ain't getting there just by doing P90X, right? They hired in beautiful talent who had been cultivating their physique for decades, probably, in order to show what you would look like. Well, is that lying? Like, should we not be able to hire? So within this, there's kind of two outcomes. Number one is, how much money are you going to make? Now, if you're making these to just make the absolute most amount of money, karma's real, right? Like, karma is real in this world. But if you're doing this to propel people into action because they've heard so many things over the years. They've been so let down by so many things that you got to shake them a little bit, kind of slap them around for a quick second, like open your eyes. And then you get enough people to say, you know what, I'm going to try it. This is the thing for me. And more people end up getting fitter because of what so the truthful answer is it depends. It depends on your opinion and my personal opinion and all of that stuff. But this is the kind of thing that happens. You're an independent creator. So am I. Like, this is what we do, right? We're indie publishers. That was a corporation, right? A big mega corporation that brought in some copywriters who sat around in a think tank and they're just throwing ideas at a wall to see something that sticks. So it's almost like that is not a requirement, but it's a byproduct of how they run that business. And that is a corporation. That corporation's goal is to make absolutely the most amount of money for the stock shareholders. Period. That is the goal of a corporation. So in their world, for them, it was the right thing to do. In your world, for you, it might not be the right thing to do.
Gotcha.
It worked. It crushed.
Oh yeah.
It crushed. And it's one of those like okay, like and then it's like, how do I use that in internet marketing? Like niche confusion. Here's what you need to do. Get confused. No,
confuse Google.
Yeah, that's Google's confused right now. It's official.
Yeah, exactly. I guess another good example of that, I guess the modern day version, I think VShred on YouTube. So VShred, I think it's a marketing company that ended up hiring the face of the company, a fitness guy, and he kind of delivers the marketing content. So that's like the modern day P90X. So it's happening over and over again for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they all have their arc, right? They all come out, they all have their rise, they hit their peak, and then they fall, and then everybody goes off to figure something out. A lot of these people eventually make enough on one of these that they just kind of disappear and they're done, right? And they milked it enough. And I don't know. I like being there for my people. I like showing up. I like continuing to pound the drum because I think there's too many people saying, like, okay, so if every fitness celebrity in the world was like, here's how to get ripped, just do this thing for 7 days, just, blog and run ads and that's it, and you'll get ripped. And I'm over here like, it's a little bit more than that. You kind of, that can get you started. That'll get you off the couch. That's great. But ultimately, we really need to zero in. We got to focus on your arms. Can't skip leg day, bro. Got to get you on legs too. So we're going to do a leg. And so I'm just willing to be there. And it's like, it's a lot of work to do all these things. And then you got to create media to keep your name out there. So what am I doing? Well, 7 a.m. on Wednesday morning, and I'm having a podcast with you because so it's that whole like leadership through doing, which is what we can do through personal brands. There's no leader like that in P90X to live that way. Yeah. But there's a group of 17 people who all need money off it. So P90X needs to make a lot more money than I do to live. And I would argue that I live, for me, I live a better lifestyle than anyone involved in that business, even though they made all their money, right? Because some people just get caught on this paper chase to go. And I'm like, I work like 7 hours a week some weeks, like maybe, and I'm just playing, and it's awesome. Thinking, a lot of time thinking.
Nice. I wanted to dive into the area as well of something that I was talking to a couple of previous guests on the podcast, Owen Walker, Jackie Chu, they're very successful online business people as well. And I was looking at a membership as part of myself. I know you used to have a membership and you don't now. And I'm assuming that's because you want more free time to do what you want. But I guess the main thing is I want to build a membership, like a community for the people who are in my niche. They come, I've got lots of friends, colleagues, and other coaches and stuff in those spaces that are working with, high level athletes, doing the leading the research in that niche in terms of physical preparation for whatever it is, and I want to bring them in too, and kind of offer almost like a place. There is no place for it right now in this space, and I want to create that for the membership. Now, I guess in terms of what to offer in the membership and the funnel itself, because I have programs and courses, and the idea would be, should I offer all of those as part of the membership? And then in terms of selling the membership, if someone's coming for a program on the pricing table, and we're going to have, hey, here's the program or course, but you can also, instead of that, you could get the membership for this price per month, and you get everything. So I'm just kind of fleshing that out. I don't know if you have any advice on that very general rant.
Well, test both, figure out what you're willing to do, and test and see what works. So James Schramko, who's in Australia, so he's all about the hero product. You have one big membership program. That's it. Don't sell other things. And he's got like, oh, you don't want to be half pregnant, right? You're selling it over here and then it's in the membership over there. So I still have an active membership. I had two I was running for a while, right? So there was one on my wife's brand. There's one on my brand. I did cancel the one that was under my brand because it required me to keep showing up and answering questions because it was literally like a marketing Q&A. And I was in there answering questions over and over. So I did turn off about $9,000 in monthly subscriptions. I'm in a blessed position in my life to just not notice or need that cash flow. I wanted the free time more. On my wife's side of things for her membership, it's very hands off. We have a very set schedule for deliverables. We create new things for them on that schedule and we send them to them and everyone's really happy. And there's a little bit of a Facebook group. So mine required dozens of hours per week. Hers requires maybe 8 hours a month to manage. And so it was looking at it this way. So the one thing I would be focused on is, and Jay Abraham, so one thing I would be focused on is not adding too much to the tail. So people buy, how much can you automate? And then what all is going to happen manually each and every month. The more stuff, that's the tail. Okay. The more stuff that you have to do after the purchase, the tail, the worse off it's going to be long term. Okay. So if you can set it up to where you've got 6 courses, they get course A in month 1 and it's a 6-month thing, that could potentially work. Other people are doing just newsletters is a great option. I think newsletters are having a total comeback in our world right now for the Substacks of the world type thing. So there's ways to do the newsletter type thing. I really do like ongoing memberships that can be perpetual. I really like doing the $1 trial with the 1 year upsell. So it's like $37 a month, but you sell them on a $1 trial. And then the 1-click upsell is like $197 for the whole year. That works extremely well. I've detailed that funnel on my blog and on my YouTube channel with, you could pretty much reverse engineer, or you could get enough of the copy for the whole 1-click upsell sales letter from just kind of looking through that. But you got to look at your niche, what people want. We do on my wife's brand, we sell a lot of things one-off, and we do have the membership. So, like, I'm going opposite of what the membership guru says that you have to do, and I can't do it this way. That he literally, I went to his event in Oz, and it was like, oh, you're doing it wrong. I was like, well, I'm doing $1 million. Not really. Like, okay, that's your opinion, and this is one of the big challenges, and so it's like, there's a few circles in the Venn diagram. It's what are you willing to do over and over again? Yeah. What assets do you have so you can drip stuff out right now? And then what do your people actually want? I would say that if I was to launch something new, I probably would build it on circle.so, which is, it's like a social media platform that's not on Facebook. It's like Mighty Networks is another one. That's what Frank Kern's building his membership program on. But yeah, if you look around, like there's a reason why most people have memberships, and it's because, if it's $100 a month and you get 100 people on it, ta-ding, you're getting 10 grand a month. Just like, ta-da, right?
And no Google to worry about.
Pretty consistent. Yeah, right. You have churn that you need to focus on, making sure people are happy, but there's ways to bypass that. One great, I think a fantastic membership product that came out, trends.vc, is by Drew Riley. He's done this thing, and he just kind of does these research reports, and every 2 weeks he sends out a research report that him and his team put together, this research report, and he's just scaled it. People are just buying, I think it's $200, $300 a year, and just the number of people buying that thing because they love his research. So he found what he's willing to do, what the market wanted, and so it's kind of like that little center point on the Venn diagram. And he tried several things that didn't work before he came onto that. And my membership evolved drastically from what it started as to what it was in the middle to what it was at the end. And then finally I just kind of scuttled it. And so it is an evolution, and just make sure whatever you do, it has the ability for someone to stay involved for years on end. Because if you can keep that thing going, like my wife's membership, we've been running for 7 years now. And I know for a fact we have some members who have been with us literally for 7 years. Yeah. And at $37 a month or $197 a year, the lifetime value of that customer goes up drastically with very minimal required inputs from us. Yes, we have to do our deliverable every month, but that deliverable goes out to all 1,000+ members. So it's kind of like I'm doing the same thing anyways, whether there's 30 people in the membership or 1,000 people in the membership. Bingo. It's a very scalable model when you get it figured out. But if it's you jumping in and answering questions every single day, there is a limit to how much you can do in a day. Therefore, these are the kinds of things that you have to kind of figure out. Don't have to have one, but the recurring income could be quite fantastic.
Because I think the idea as well was to leverage other coaches as well for even like, for example, if I'm doing a live Q&A once a month, or maybe not at all, but to have other coaches maybe pay them to do a live Q&A once a month kind of thing. Then I'm more hands off. I'm kind of in there, maybe answering questions on a daily basis, but I don't have to do as much in terms of keeping that thing going when I've got other people in there. So
and it can be an interview series where you pull in other experts and you interview them and you get bits of their stuff. And, a lot of times they'll do that just in order to get access to your audience. You wouldn't even have to pay them. And there's a lot of ways that you can put it together, but ultimately it's what can you deliver of value month in and month out, ongoing for a very long time with little effort required from you that people are just going to stay subscribed to. And if you can crack that, it creates a very wonderful type of income, the recurring income.
How do you balance like a paid newsletter with your normal email, like marketing, like providing value each week?
Yeah, so I don't do that. I'm not really interested because I don't want to write more. If I was to do it, it would be super tactical and I would constantly tease the big lessons. And so what I would use is, so I'm coming off this launch right now. The big thing that clicked on this launch was I got some joint venture partners to mail. So that's me being a vendor and going and finding affiliates to mail my stuff. That resulted in, I think, $25,000 in additional revenue from this launch this year. So that's what I would teach, right? And so in the marketing emails, I would flex about how well I've been doing and about this trick. And the trick was, I got the JV, and if you want to hear how I landed those JV partners so you can start to grow your business through this, make sure you're on the paid one because that premium letter is coming out on Friday. And then once we finish that premium letter, I would have to come up with something else. And for me, I would be looking in the data because that's what we've been talking about repeatedly. It's actually what moves the business. It's that geeking out over the data. And I would probably do almost case study like content would be premium, and just me bantering about things would be the freemium level.
Gotcha. And on the testing as well, how much traffic or how many people do you need to visit whatever it is you're testing do you think is valid enough for you to maybe make a decision?
Yeah, a few hundred is normal. So like I like to see at least 200-300 leads coming through when I'm testing a new opt-in. Which generally means I'm probably going to see 500 to 1,000 clicks for me to be really, really confident in the statistical significance of it. If you don't have enough data, if you only got 100 clicks, then your data is going to be all over the place. The second 100 clicks could come out with a totally different result. But by the time you get to click number 800, and if you've got 100 conversions at 800 clicks, your data is not going to vary too much at that point in time.
Yeah. No, perfect.
And there are statistical significance calculators. So if you just Google statistical significance calculator, you can find one that's like how many clicks, how many conversions, and it'll tell you what the rate is, but it'll also tell you the probability of that rate holding up over time. And you want to see like 95 to 98% probability on that.
No, perfect. I think I'm going to get to doing some more testing as well and going through and redoing my landing pages with new copy and new headlines and all that kind of stuff as well in the coming weeks.
New hooks.
Yeah, for sure. And run through
and it's the same thing. You can offer that same core thing, but if I present it this way versus presenting it that way, what actually works, right? Like that is the game. And it's a wonderful challenge. And you might find inspiration from a billboard. You might find inspiration from a fish and chip shop or some fancy coffee shop in Ponsonby, right? Like the inspiration is all over the place where, oh man, I've stayed in Ponsonby quite a bit. I've spent 8 months in New Zealand. The first time we toured both islands, North Island, South Island, fell in absolute love with the Bay of Plenty. Kind of even looked into like relocating and residency and stuff, but I love it. I absolutely love it down there. Shall be back at some point. Who knows? Once the world opens up. Maybe we could do an event down there. That'd be an absolute blast.
Well, I've actually recently moved from New Zealand to the United States 2 months ago.
Oh, that's awesome! You're up here in the States.
Yep. So now I'm in Austin. Well, so I used to live in Austin, Texas when I was working for the rugby here, and then was living in Romania working for the rugby there, and then back in New Zealand during the pandemic. Applied for green cards through my wife because she's a super athlete, and then we came back here 2 months ago.
Freedom. To the land of freedom.
To freedom. Exactly.
Yep. Texas is freedom, my man. You get to smell it. You can taste it in the air out there. It's hot, but it's free.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, for sure. I mean, New Zealand's obviously nice and it's awesome. You've probably seen more of New Zealand than I have, to be honest, if you've done that long going around the country.
I have a dream. So I'm really into like overlanding vehicles. I got this big van. I want to ship my van down to New Zealand. It's about a 30-day run, pick it up in Auckland, and I just want to get a full 3-month visa, just drive around and literally just caravan around and just camp and enjoy the islands for about 3 months in my van, then ship the van back and fly back. And
well, it's the perfect place to do it.
At some point I might pull it off. Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah. No. Well, thanks for coming on, Miles. I really appreciate it. If anyone wants to follow what you're doing, where can they find you? Obviously, your Miles Beckler YouTube channel, milesbeckler.com.
Yep. So, and I'm the only Miles Beckler in the world. So I was blessed with a very unique name. So whatever platform you are on, I am on. Most of my useful content is on YouTube and or my blog. I'm also on Twitter, usually half talking smack, half trying to inspire people, just goofing off on the niche Twitter, trying to keep everybody focused on the real game, right? Let's not get too distracted on the meta game. Let's stay focused on the real game. So I'm Miles Beckler on Twitter as well, if anybody wants to say what's up.
All right, perfect. Thank you for coming on, Miles. I really appreciate it.
Cheers. Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're listening. Until the next episode, goodbye.